All right, guys, how's it going? Welcome in here to Rover Sports. Big day of college football. Today we had Georgia kick the crap out of Tennessee. We had Alabama's defense and Nick Saban look like absolute dog shit today against Ole Miss in the lane train. Matt Corral is mightily improved. He's looking like the five-star quarterback that Ole Miss recruited, and Ole Miss is running the football. And I think the most yards ever accounted by an SEC team was tonight. So pretty unbelievable. We got Brandon Rogers watching the stream. I'll definitely take some questions. It's been a little while since I've been on the live stream, but I wanted to kick it off and do a video, and I appreciate it. Mike Lopez, how you doing? Let me take care of one thing, and then we're good. All right, we are actually good. But Mikey, what's up, man? I'm excited about tomorrow. I'm excited about Daniel Jones bouncing back. And after watching all this offense in college football, I believe that the New York Giants can really put on a show tomorrow in Dallas. My Thunder friend, Arku, what a game that was, Oklahoma and Texas. Lincoln Riley blew that game. Dan Gabe Yurkich blew the game, but Spencer Rattler's the truth. He bounced back. He had an awesome game. It's no problem, man. Got a Chargers fan in here asking me about Justin Herbert. I think Justin Herbert is absolutely awesome. I think Justin Herbert is better than Joe Burrow, at least what he's shown so far, because he can throw it a fadeaway back-footed ball 60 yards in the air on a rope. I mean, he was going toe-to-toe with Tom Brady. Justin Herbert is an absolute monster. He's an absolute stud. And I think that Anthony Lynn, I'm worried about Anthony Lynn because he was playing around with Tyrod Taylor. Anthony Lynn doesn't have a playoff pedigree. I'm worried about him as a head coach, and the organization of the Chargers maybe failing Herbert. But I think Herbert looks pretty damn good. Connor says you missed Buckeye football. I can totally understand that. Justin Fields, the Big Ten. It doesn't really feel like college football without the Big Ten or without the Pac-12. Now, it was nice to see Kyle Field and Texas A&M fully. It looked like there was a ton of people there, and you're really seeing crowds funnel back in and really make this a college football atmosphere in some ways. It's Senor, my man. How you doing, Chris? Lalo Paz, it has been. I'm in and out. That's just kind of how life works, but I'm a big Jimmy Garoppolo fan. I still am. He's maybe not like in my top 5 like he used to be because I need to see him stay healthy, push the ball down the field. Jimmy's still a top 10 quarterback. He's a freaking winner. And tomorrow, 49ers and Dolphins, it's time for Jimmy Garoppolo to rock with George Kittle and get this offense rolling again. At least for the 49er fans, they can see that Nick Mullins, just because he had a few good games, Nick Mullins isn't anything to really consider as a quarterback for the long-term future. That was proven to be ridiculous last week. Great question, Connor, about my friend Kyle Trasker. Not my friend. I wish I knew him in Manville. He actually went to the same school as De'Ara King. I think Kyle Trask is a fringe first rounder, maybe second rounder, kind of like a Karin at Teddy Bridgewater. He has great size. He has enough arm strength. The arm strength's not elite. He's an all right decision maker. I think at the NFL level, he can be a starter. I don't think he's going to be a star player. I look at Lance and Lawrence as those two guys that could be stars. And then Justin is a guy that you have to watch more of. But Kyle's definitely that fourth guy. And now Mac Jones is kind of showing up as well. Mac even looks like he can be a guy selected maybe in a third round, maybe early on a Saturday. Top streams, how are you, my friend? You guys just had more firepower than the Oakland Raiders have. The Oakland Raiders don't have any firepower with Derek Carr to compete with Buffalo. Their defense is dog shit. and they're forcing Derek Carr to be something he's not, which is to take over a game. And now if Henry Ruggs going out, the Raiders don't have anybody to throw to. The Raiders want to play ground and pound football. They want to play old school ball, but their defense absolutely sucks, and that is always going to be a problem. And their medical staff is just, they always have injuries all over the field. Lalo, I'm making you feel good. That is awesome. Mike says Big Dex is going to get 2 sacks tomorrow. He really should, man, because Dexter has to take over a game. You know, he's a first-round pick, and I know that we have Austin Johnson doing it, but really it comes down to Leonard Williams and it comes down to Dexter Lawrence. These are your studs, and they're going to have to defend against the Cowboys. I'm worried that if the Cowboys get up on the Giants big, that the Giants offense will start to panic, because the Giants have to stick to the running game tomorrow and they have to dominate a little time of possession. It's going to be very hard. It's a terrible matchup. I'd rather play Washington or the Eagles, because playing a high-powered offense, the Giants offense is just not built to match the Cowboys, and that's why it's going to be a huge problem. Because the Giants offense, you can't rely on it. If the Giants offense played versus a college offense, I've never seen a touchdown in 10 decades. That's why I look like such shit, because I've just been growing out my beard, because the Giants, I mean, they haven't scored a touchdown in 10 years, or maybe I'd shave and look even more presentable. It's Alex Sports. Alex Sports is in the house. Lalo, I always appreciate that. I think that Kyle Trask, and the one thing is his mobility is not insane, but I like a lot of parts of his game, and he has a lot of touch. I don't think Dallas is getting an upset. They're definitely the big favorites, but it's weird. I think this might be the first time that we get a game on a Tuesday between the Buffalo Bills and the Tennessee Titans, I guess, in Nashville. And that'll be just awesome to have that game on a Tuesday. I think the Bills can go to 5-0, and the Bills absolutely look stellar. I think the Eagles actually have a chance against the Pittsburgh Steelers tomorrow, because the thing about the Philadelphia Eagles is that their D-line is really, really good. Their defense has been playing great for 8 games. Carson Wentz is still a pretty solid quarterback. And I think the Eagles' defense is actually good. And tomorrow you're going to see against a good Steelers team, the Eagles have a great chance to win. What's up, Jet Central? How are you, my friend? Jet Central in here watching the stream, a real celebrity, a guy that's doing an incredible job with his channel and his new setup. And he continues to do the very tough job of talking about the New York Jets on a daily basis. He's a big Iowa State guy as well, and Iowa State got a nice win today in college football. I watched college all day long. The Lane Train was phenomenal. Mississippi State and Mike Leach, they beat LSU, but now LSU looks like dog shit, so that win doesn't mean anything anymore. KJ Costello 3 weeks ago was the toast of the town in Starkville, and now KJ Costello is getting benched for a random sophomore from Mississippi and Brandon Rogers. I mean, KJ Costello, the highs of the highs and the ultimate lows of lows. So Adam Gase, I think Gase is just brought in to be the tank artist, and now with Le'Veon Bell out, I still expect the Jets to lose to the Cardinals tomorrow. Auburn, Arkansas fumble call was just a terrible call by the referee. But unfortunately for Arkansas, the play was blown dead, so they couldn't overturn the call. I hate when there's a fumble and a ref just calls a play dead when the players are scrambling. That is a real pet peeve that's really irritating. I think the Giants have to run the football. There is no doubt about it. If the Giants are going to win tomorrow, and they got to find a way to punch it in the end zone. But today, guys, college football was just great, and I love this time of year with college and the NFL. Let's kind of look to the NFL slate. We got a lot of NFL people here. So tomorrow we have Jaguars and Texans, and I think that the Texans coaching vacancy, I'm going to talk for a little bit now, and then I'll look at the chat. Going to kind of get in a rhythm of talking a little bit. I think that the Texans, they're looking maybe to hire Eric Bieniemy. I think he'd be a good fit with Deshaun Watson. Joe Brady from LSU is always a possibility. He's with the Carolina Panthers. I think you need a nice offensive coach to coach Deshaun Watson. Brian Billick, maybe he comes out of the booth. I'm not really sure what coaches are really available right now. Maybe Shane Steichen, the offensive coordinator of the Chargers, is pretty impressive. Byron Leftwich is a good offensive coordinator. Just looking around the NFL, Kevin O'Connell is also an interesting name out in LA, but O'Connell has no connections to the McNair family. So I think Bieniemy has a wonderful opportunity. Brian Daboll is certainly a great call. He is one of the hottest offensive coordinators. He's running all these motions and all these spectacular things. It's going to be great tomorrow, Bengals and Ravens, to see about Joe Burrow. Joe Burrow going up against that Ravens defense. It's going to be fun to see if Burrow can keep that game close. Panthers and Falcons. I think the Panthers, it's been a nice story, but I have the Falcons actually beating the Panthers tomorrow at home in the Dome. Raiders and Chiefs, it should be an absolute blowout because the Raiders, they can't play defense and their offense is not explosive at all. And that's why the Chiefs are absolutely going to kill them. Let's also see what we think. Eagles and Steelers, that's my upset alert. I have the Eagles winning that game. I think Big Ben gets harassed by that Eagles defense. The Eagles are a much better team than they've shown so far. The Eagles are not the team from the first 2 weeks of the season. Rams and Washington, I want to see Kyle Allen do well in that game. Dwayne Haskins gets benched, but there was a story actually out there, guys, about Dwayne Haskins that, and these stories might not always be true, but Dwayne Haskins on draft night, he charged people $50 to attend his draft party, but it's not that story. And it's not the story of Dwayne Haskins being kind of, a questionable film studier last year in terms of his work ethic. It's that after the game, Dwayne Haskins was bragging to his teammates about how he threw for a whole bunch of yards, but their team got absolutely destroyed by Baltimore, and teammates were obviously upset about that. Clocks, I still do contact the entertainer a lot. And he has a great show. If Mike Too Nice, he has a great show. I'm trying to get on there pretty soon. But Chris is obviously super talented, and he's the best Giants YouTuber out there. Him, Bad Dog, Cop Pizzle, all really great Giants YouTubers. But yeah, I still talk to Chris for sure. We have great conversations about the Giants on the phone. Dolphins 49ers tomorrow, and then Colts and Browns. First of all, the Colts defense is really good. The Colts are the most underrated team in the NFL. Yep, I heard Haskins bragging about a loss. Lincoln Riley to the Chargers would be a dream, but unfortunately, Lincoln Riley is only going to go to a huge market. He's only going to go to a team, maybe the Jets, but I don't know about that ownership. I think Lincoln's going to stay with Spencer Rattler for a little while, but it would obviously be a perfect fit to see Lincoln Riley go to a team with a quarterback. I think Lincoln Riley's an unbelievable coach. I love the way that he calls running schemes. I love how cool he is on the sidelines. He'd come right into the NFL and be really, really good. Zach Johnson, I really appreciate that because, first off, you're going to make opinions. This is an entertainment business, being a commentator. You're going to sometimes, I'm not going to say get carried away with predictions, but you're going to try to be, what's it called? You're going to try to be like entertaining. Zach, when you do a stream, and you're going to come up with takes that are outside of the norm of takes and just try to have fun. And that's what football is. It's not too serious like so many things in life. So that's all the fun of it. If I talk crap about your team, if I talk about Ryan Tannehill in a way that doesn't make you happy, that's why you're going to come back to the channel, and that's why we're going to talk it out, and that's what makes it great. because again, if you're just going to be polite to everybody, you're not going to get, nobody's really going to really be really incited by your entertainment. You look at guys that get paid lots of money on TV, and they all have very engaging personalities, and they all take very strong opinions that are even oftentimes absurd opinions. I try not to be as absurd, but again, Ryan Tannehill was a guy who did it for 1 year. The Titans are barely surviving games, but hey, they're winning a lot of games. I think that the Oregon guy is a tackle. I would like Gregory Rousseau, like probably a defensive lineman. And again, great question. Andy says, are you giving up on Daniel Jones? And I'm going to be as patient with Jones as possible until the end of the season. That's how I'm going to approach it with Jones, because it's possible that it all clicks. And you have to give Jones time in this Garrett offense to really figure it out. He's driving the team down the field. It's just up to Jones when they get to the red area of scoring those touchdowns, and that can make all the difference. So the Giants defense is coming along. And first off, if the Giants end up being a top 3 worst team in the league and potentially drafting a quarterback, that means that Gettleman is fired. That also means that Joe Judge might be fired, because he could be one and done. He's one of the most inexpensive coaches in the National Football League. So I know I was ragging about Jones a couple of weeks ago. I know I called him all sorts of things, but you have no choice but to stay with Jones throughout this entire year and see what happens. And he played one of his better games against the Rams. The game against the Rams was better than the games against the Bears and against the 49ers. So that game gave me a little bit of hope that maybe he can start finding Slayton again. I was right with Josh Allen. Yes. I mean, not Lamar Jackson. A lot of people were wrong. You're going to be like a 50%. You're going to be a 50% hit rate. I would say I like Cowherd maybe the most out of those guys, and then maybe Skip Bayless. Chris Sims was right about Lamar and Josh Allen. I mean, Chris Sims is a smart guy, and he does a really good job on NBC, I would say. I like when he breaks down a lot of the games on NBC. Mike Florio's decent, but Sims is just the star of that channel. And then you have Tony Romo. Who else do you have in broadcasting? You got Romo, you got Collinsworth, you got Brock Heward, who's really good, Joel Klatt, Gus Johnson. So there's a lot of good broadcasting units out there. Bronco legend. I mean, it's time. When is Drew Lock going to come back? And when is Drew Lock going to be ready to play for the Denver Broncos? Jamar Chase is really, really, really good. From LSU. He's probably, I don't know if I would want Chase. I would probably want Jalen Waddle, to be honest. I think Waddle's the best wide receiver. You can't really go wrong with either choice. I think the Giants actually, if they want to go wide receiver, the tough part is that that's not good value for wide receivers, because wide receivers, you can get them in the second and third rounds and be fine. I am a little bit disappointed in the Broncos for sure. I mean, I think the Broncos last week, they beat the Jets. But the Broncos against the Titans, Vic Fangio was a massive, massive disappointment. And then against the Bucs, their defense just doesn't show up. Now they've had Von Miller and Drew Lock go down, Cortland Sutton, all their best players. But again, I'd like to see the Broncos, I would like to see them bring in a Joe Brady or a Lincoln Riley. Now that would be a great hire, because I just think Fangio's too old. I think Fangio is too old really to get it done. He hasn't shown me a lot of clock management skills. And Pat Shurmur is just not a great offensive coordinator. And I want to see Joe Brady get a chance to be the coordinator and the coach there. I think you got to get a young, dynamic offensive guy like a Kevin O'Connell, like even Brian Daboll might do decently with Drew Lock and that offense. I mean, Drew Lock, similar to Josh Allen, you got to let Drew Lock throw the ball and really be vertical. I think Fangio is on his last leg. He's an older coach. I don't see a lot of upside for Fangio at all. And I think that the team needs some juice, and I think that Drew Lock needs some juice. And I'm not a fan of necessarily Pat Shurmur in this offense. So Jerry Jeudy is going to need to play big, though. I think that Jerry needs to go tomorrow. I don't know what's going on with Jerry Jeudy. Broncos and Patriots. I thought Jarrett Stidham actually did decent. When Jarrett was given an opportunity to play, he underthrew that deep ball. But other than that, I think Jarrett showed a lot of skill and a lot of talent. I think Jarrett Stidham could start in this league. I really do. And I've said that for a long, long time. And with Cam Newton now overcoming the coronavirus, we're going to have to see if Cam Newton, the arm strength and everything can stay for the whole year. I appreciate that, Bronco. I would take that in a second, obviously. So, guys, I am excited for tomorrow. It is going to be tremendous. I think Diggs is the best offseason move, and I think the Bills are going to win the AFC East now. Buffalo's got to win the AFC East. And then this year, you look at this year, you get to Mahomes, and you are in the Super Bowl. Josh Allen is a top 4 quarterback in the NFL. It's Patrick Mahomes, it's Russell Wilson, it's Aaron Rodgers, it's Josh Allen. Then number 5, you can either go Lamar Jackson or Ben Roethlisberger for this year. I don't know who you would put in your top 4 ahead of Josh Allen. Josh Allen is the guy. Josh Allen is top 4 in MVP voting. He is the truth. I think the Jets can do it. I think they can tank for Lawrence. Lawrence is 6'6". He's mobile. He has a good head on his shoulders. He loves the game of football. He's humble. He can throw with touch. He has a cannon. Trevor Lawrence, the pedigree. He's the perfect quarterback prospect, Trevor Lawrence. And I thought Tua was pretty damn good, but Trevor Lawrence is going to be a guy that's going to come into the league year one. He's going to light up the league and be really, really good year one. I think that Josh is a lot bigger than Drew Lock, and Josh has the mobility that Lock doesn't really have, but Lock still has a big arm. Lock is a Matthew Stafford, and Lock is like an aggressive Matthew Stafford. And I want Drew Lock to be a guy that is clutcher than Matthew Stafford. And I think Lock has all the ability, can really push the ball down the field, can make any sort of throw. I would say that the Drew Lock's, I'm not going to say he's like Big Ben. I'm trying to think of who he is. I think Matt Stafford, in terms of just talent, Drew Lock's talent is up there with Justin Herbert. Drew Lock's talent is up there with trying to think of who Drew Lock really matches up with. It's better than Matt Ryan. It's better than Kyler Murray's talent. Drew Lock has a bigger upside than even Kyler, because Drew Lock is just a much better thrower of the ball than Kyler. Now, is he as smart as Kyler? Can he get out of trouble as well as Kyler Murray? I don't think so. But Drew Lock, if Drew Lock's healthy, I'm taking him over Baker Mayfield. Drew Lock's upside is a top 8 quarterback. So Josh Allen is one of the more physically gifted quarterbacks ever. Just how he gets out of the pocket and how he's combined everything. This has been one of the great seasons that you've seen from a quarterback. So no doubt top streams. I mean, it's a lot easier doing this night stream because I'm so dang lazy and uploading the stream is really, really difficult. I think that you guys, Denver, I don't know if there's a great running back out there. But offensive tackle still to replace Garrett Bowles would be a really good decision, I think. James Morgan. Unfortunately, Jeremy, I'm not sure that James Morgan will ever get a chance in the NFL. If you're drafted in like the 4th round, forget it. You're just done. So I don't know if James Morgan is going to do crap. I don't know if James Morgan's going to do anything because he's just not given the chance. And yeah, James Morgan isn't that mobile, but I think James Morgan can play for a whole bunch of years and be a journeyman and start a couple of games. I think he could be like a Fitzpatrick in this league. I think he can be as good as Gardner Minshew can be. Yeah, I mean, it's Drew Lock. That's an easy question. Giants over the Cowboys tomorrow. I'm not sure about that. When you look at the Tennessee Titans, can the Titans beat the Colts for the division championship? That is going to be the question for the Tennessee Titans. I mean, because the Tennessee Vols, boy, did they let me down in terms of gambling today. And that offense of Tennessee was an absolute embarrassment against a Georgia defense that's really good. But I love college football. I love the SEC. I love Arkansas Razorback football. I think Colt McCoy, I said that, a couple of weeks ago, but Colt McCoy, it doesn't make any sense right now. Jones gives you a little bit. Jones, here's the thing about Jones is that he played kind of well last week, and you got to see if it clicks with Jones. If it doesn't, then everybody gets fired, and because Colt McCoy is not going to solve anything for you. That was a fun game. Connor Bazelak, Eli Drinkowitz, Missouri beating LSU. Bo Pelini off to a really tough start. I'd give Bo Pelini some leeway, though. He just came from Youngstown State. It's been a horrible year with the coronavirus, and it's also been a tough year in terms of guys like Patrick Queen going to the draft, like Kaylavon Chason going to the draft. It's been a tough year for LSU in terms of like returning starters on defense. The Oklahoma game was amazing how Oklahoma and Spencer Rattler battled back. I mean, Sam Ehlinger is just a warrior at the position, like such an amazing college player, and have Gus Johnson on the call. That was just as fun as it's always been. So this was great, guys. I love meeting up, doing these little streams here, previewing the games. I'll probably be back on tomorrow night just to kind of hop on and just kind of give my thoughts on what shakes out in the NFL, or I might do like a phone rant again tomorrow, like after the Giants and after all of that. So I really, really appreciate you guys coming in here. I think that Jason Garrett needs to open up the offense tomorrow for Daniel Jones. And if he can do that, if the Giants can be aggressive in the red zone, and it's just red zone problems, I want to see the Giants at least go in the high 20s, low 30s. So thank you guys for watching, and I'm going to bounce on out of here. It has been a lot of fun. Everybody enjoy football tomorrow, and thank you for the viewership and tuning in.